Welcome to Canning What You Grow. I'm Holly Baird. This is presented to you by the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com. Well, today we're going to talk about canning sweet pickles or bread and butter pickles. We did this last year at the end of the harvest season, and it's a very simple and straightforward process. So we'll go ahead and show you how simple it actually is. Well, today we're making sweet pickles or bread and butter pickles, whatever you want to call them. So what we've done so far is we've combined about 4 quarts of pickling cucumbers, about 8 medium-sized onions. For us, it was about 12 smaller onions because that's what we got out of the garden, 3 garlic cloves, and then what we did is after we chopped all that up, we put that in the pot. We put about 1/3 cup of pickling salt in there, mixed that up, and then we added, it was about 1 inch or 2 of ice on top. And then we put that in the fridge, and it keeps in the fridge for about 3 to 12 hours. You want to let it soak and absorb that salt and that water and everything else. So we've gone to that stage now. So then you drain it. Then you're going to add these items. You're going to add 3 cups of apple cider vinegar, 4 cups of sugar, and then here I have some spices. I have some mustard seed, turmeric, and then some peppercorns. And you're just going to stir it up here. And you just want to stir it real well because we're going to get this on the stove and cook it just for a couple minutes before we get them in the jars to get them sealed up. So let's just get this stirred up. So we have this on the stove on high heat. And what we're going to do is we're going to wait until it comes to a boil. It's going to boil for about 5 minutes, and you can check it. You can see the liquid in there when it starts to boil. Boil it for about 5 minutes, and you're going to take it off the stove and pack it into jars, and we'll show that once it gets to that point. So as you can see, it's boiling. It's been boiling for about 5 minutes, and now we're going to go and get the pickles in the jar so we can put them in the canner. So now we're going to get these packed into the jars, and for those of you who are new at canning, you want to make sure you use certified mason jars with the 2-piece lids. We have the lids over here, and then we have the rings. And then also we have this tool, which is really handy. It's got a magnet on the end of it to help get the lids out of the hot water. Then we have the jar lifter. That's really handy for lifting the jars out of the water bath canner. And then this tool right here is for measuring the headspace. For example, I'll show you, we're going to need a 1/2 inch headspace for these pickles. So let me get some of these packed in here. And then also, I just want to let you guys know that if you're new to canning, doing pickles is really, really easy. It's one of the easiest things, I would say probably the easiest thing to can. So, you know, if you're new to canning, you're not quite sure, you got a lot of cucumbers, maybe you have a lot of beets. Pickled beets are really good too. But you want to just make sure that you read your recipe before you start canning so you know you have all the ingredients, because some of them might have like some sort of spice that you don't have on hand already. So, but yeah, pickles are the easiest ones to do. So, I'll top it off with the brine. I'm just going to measure for headspace. Looks like we're right there. Just going to grab a paper towel to wipe the rim off. And you always want to make sure you wipe the rim off because you want to get a proper seal. So if you don't do this, then you might not get a proper seal, which is bad because then your jar won't seal. And if a bunch of your jars don't seal, then you have to either reprocess them or eat them right away. So we got that one all set to go. And you just want to finger tighten. You don't want to jam it on there. So we got that one ready to go in the canner. We'll do another one here real quick. And the one thing is you might get a little bit too much liquid in there, so you can just take a spoon and back it out. It's not going to hurt anything. And then also, let me just measure this real quick. Once you measure for your headspace, you want to get the air bubbles out. And the easiest thing I've discovered is that if you take one of these wooden skewers that you can buy for making like kebabs or whatever on the grill, if you just take it and run it along the outside of the jar, it'll slide in there real nice, and it'll just get rid of the air bubbles, just so that you get a better seal. So now we've got our jars all filled, and we got the lids on them, so we're going to put them in the canner. But just real quick before we do that, I want to mention to you some pointers. Our recipe called for 7 pints, but we ended up with 8, and that does happen. Sometimes you just end up with more, which is fine. Just go ahead, process it. If you don't have a full jar, then what you want to do, like what we did here, is you just set it aside, and you can put it in the fridge for a couple days or eat it, whatever you want to do. Another thing I always like to recommend, because all these items, everything you can has processing time, I recommend using just a simple kitchen timer. Even cell phones have timers on them now, but simple kitchen timer just really helps make you remember, you know, has it been 10 minutes, has it been 8, I don't know. Just use a kitchen timer. It's much easier. So let's get these into the canner and we'll get them processed. So we're just going to get these pulled out here. It's been 10 minutes. And I always like to just make sure I got all the extra water off of them. And you want to place them on a towel, or if you have a cooling rack, we just use a towel. It just is, because if your counter or your table is cool, the hot jars could crack if they sit on there. So you want to just make sure you place them on there. So now they're going to seal. You're going to hear them pop. They're going to make these little popping noises. And then you want to let them cool down before you put them in their final storage place. You want to make sure you label them also, and they're good for about a year. So as you can see, it's a very straightforward and simple process. One thing that I wanted to note is that we have chosen to use organic cane sugar now as opposed to regular conventional sugar. The reason for that being is that we feel it's more socially responsible. Organic cane sugar is made without using any sort of genetically modified plants. Unfortunately, conventional sugar it's made with the genetically modified sugar beet. And as you can see, it would be a great recipe here to make for a beginner canner or a canner of all experiences. And I really hope you enjoy them. I'll leave the recipe in the show notes for you so that you can have easy access to it. I'm Holly Baird, and this has been Canning What You Grow. To see all of the Canning What You Grow video series, you can visit our website, which is thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, and you click on the Canning What You Grow icon.